once we get into it, what do we do to make sure we don't go off the rails here?
So yeah, I think so. This is the rundown. It's straight from the ebook. So I think, I mean, the first thing is maintain trust. So I think that's about using clean, verified data, having good databases of, let's call them in technology, we call them databases of record. Here we are talking about the EDCs, the CTMS. Make sure that your sources of data for the clinical trials are trustworthy and good. Second point is work with AI. I think, what does that mean? Understand what it's doing and treat it as a tool, as a partner. It's not in control, you're in control. It's a support. The third point is pick the right tools. So I think this is key. Pick validated platforms that will streamline your integration. So there are a variety of excellent tools out there. There are a variety of tools that are not as good. And so, you know, in data integration, for example, you can pick a tool that's excellent, that's horizontal tool for any use case. So that's sort of like low on the abstraction hierarchy. And there is a lot of work that you need to do to actually use it in the specific domain of clinical trial data management. You can use a tool like Adaptive Clinical, which is already aware of all the semantics and all the complexities of what you're dealing with in terms of integrating the systems. So whether you're using it as a tool or using it to enable your AI, it will enable you to do it more effectively. The fourth one is it's all about patients. That's why trials exist. So focus on patients, and that will give relevance to everything else. So it's not about the AI, it's not about the EDC, it's about the patient. So if you keep that front and center, it will make everything relevant, as I say. I think the fifth thing is this thing changes very quickly. I think 5 years ago, we were not talking about AI. Using it, especially in life sciences, using it as frequently as we're talking today. So regulation change, as we'll see with the FDA later, and tools change. And finally, one of the most important points is you need your people to come along for the journey. So teach them, educate them, discuss with them what's the relevance of AI, what it means, and excite them about using it, and actually start building, start with something small, learn from doing a pilot.
That's a really good point, Efton, and you know, thank you for bringing that up. That to me is, I think that number 6 should be amplified. We view AI, in my opinion, we view AI as a technology problem, but it's really not. Well, it is a technology challenge, right? Because you get the IT who understands like servers and algorithms and statistics and whatnot to bring it in and deploy it. The piece that we really have to work on is what I call change management, and that is organizational change management. So we had data managers, monitors, clinical operations, and they were doing things a certain way for hundreds of years. I mean, literally, this AI revolution has been the single biggest shift in the way we operate. And that's the one thing that we really can't overlook, because you could bring in the perfect tool and it could be tuned exactly like the way Efton mentioned it. But if your organization doesn't know how to adapt, hasn't been given time to adapt, hasn't been trained on how to adapt, and perhaps given time to formulate new ways of doing things, then the tool really is not going to be as effective. And we were at SCDM, and We talked about this at one of our panels, and that really got everybody animated in the audience, because everybody was in pursuit of understanding what is AI, and then they suddenly kind of stood back and said, oh my, this means that my 9 to 5 activities now have to change. Not in a bad way, but just realizing that your organization has to operate different. Frankly, this is true when you roll out any kind of technology, but AI is so sophisticated and it does so much of the decision making that you really do need to emphasize how they have to change, how the human in the loop roles change. In other words, from actually mechanically changing the data, our roles transform into monitoring and overseeing the machinations that AI brings to bear. I think that's a very, very big effort. And in my opinion, when you start your AI project, as soon as it begins to take shape from a requirement standpoint, start thinking about your organizational change control and how you manage that.